Welcome, yogis. Hello, my name is Jason Gorenstein, and this is our Hatha Yoga Level 1 class. It's so nice to have you all here. Today is Thursday, June the 4th, 2020. Class is 6 a.m. Pacific Time to 6:55 Pacific Time live on Facebook. So if you're watching this video, you're either watching live on Facebook or you're watching on my YouTube channel. All platforms at Yoga with Jason G. That's at Yoga with Jason G. So without further ado, let us begin. And we're going to start today's class in child's pose. So whenever you're ready, you can release your head down onto the mat. Take your arms back behind you. Allow the palms to face the ceiling. And just let your hips retract down towards your heels. And I'll be joining you guys throughout today's practice to guide you and also to practice with you. So let's begin. Okay. So as you find your way into child's pose, just let your breath be long and slow here. Begin to notice both your inhalations and your exhalations. Allow the head to release all the way down. Allow the tops of the shoulders to round here. And begin to breathe into the low back. As you breathe into the low back, just start to notice the breath filling up the muscles of the low back, filling up the muscles of the mid back, filling up the muscles of the upper back. And as you exhale, notice a softening here as the chest continues to release down towards the thighs. And once again, as you inhale here, breathing in, filling up the back muscles, low back, middle back, upper back. And as you exhale, just noticing any release. So if the head does not touch the ground, please consider using a block to place the head on. Another option you can do is just crossing the forearms here and allow the hips to be lifted in the air, just as a variation for our child's pose. And continuing to breathe here. And eventually, you'll begin to take your arms and extend your arms forward of your chest. So let the arms lengthen all the way forward. Spread through the fingers. See that the palms are a little bit wider than, or rather the arms are a little bit wider than the shoulders. Continue to press down through the thumb all the way to the forefinger. Continue to allow the inner arms to lift up. Allow the outer arms to draw down towards the floor. Begin to feel those side ribs lengthening here as you pull the hips back towards the heels. Maybe the hips touch the heels. Maybe they don't. But you're continuing to feel the breath traveling. Once again, low back, middle back, and upper back. And exhale. So now press down through all 10 fingers. Feel the thumb and the forefinger firmly rooted on the mat. Begin to inhale, peel the chest up, and allow the chest to become parallel to the floor as you find your way into tabletop pose. As you take tabletop pose, spread the fingers wide apart once again. See that the outer arms are firming in. See that the belly is hugging in towards the ceiling here as you continue to lengthen through your side ribs. That's it. Inhale, peel the chest up, lift up through the heart and the sternum. As you exhale, begin to coil the belly in towards the ceiling as you release the head down towards the mat. On your next breath, on an inhalation, begin to peel the chest forward, lengthening through the heart, abdomen, and sternum. And once again, as you exhale, creating a rounded nature of the spine as you release the head all the way down towards the floor. Keep drawing that tailbone all the way down towards the backs of the knees here. Inhale, peeling the chest up, forward and up. That's it. Exhale, rounding the spine one more time. As you round the spine this time, just begin to see how long you can get in your middle back. So feel the shoulders releasing down to the floor. Feel the tailbone releasing down towards the floor. And just begin to know that belly is hugging up, in, and hollowing towards the chest. As you exhale, shifting forward, tucking those toes underneath, pressing down through the tops of the feet. Downward facing dog. Walk the feet just a little bit wider apart. See that the fingers are turned out here, and release the head down towards the mat. Allow the breath to be long and slow as you take your first downward facing dog pose. So in downward facing dog, especially if you're a beginner, you're going to let those fingers turn out slightly. It just creates a little bit more space for the shoulders here. Good. And eventually, you're going to begin to walk your hands back towards your feet here and come into a forward fold. So walk your hands back, walk your hands back, walk your hands back. It's okay to have a bend in the knees and release the hands down to the mat. Usually we take our thumb and cross it over to our opposite elbow crease. So if you'd like to do that, please feel free to. And allow the weight to travel from the heels to the toes. So see that the four corners of the feet are pressing down firmly. Allow the inner legs to begin to lift up. Notice the backs of the legs here starting to grow longer as you allow the chest to fold maybe more deeply towards the feet. Again, release the hands down to the mat. Walk the fingers forward, walk the fingers forward, walk the fingers forward. Downward facing dog here. And downward facing dog pose, release your knees down to the mat. Good. So continue to keep those fingers spread wide apart and float the right leg up and back towards the back of the room. Spin the right foot down. See that the right heel is lengthening back. See that the right toes are lengthening back. Feel the inner right leg lifting here. So you'll notice as you lift the right leg, a couple of things happen. The weight starts to travel from the right palm, right leg, to the left palm, left leg. So you need to press down through the left fingers here to draw the weight back to center. That's it. Left hip has to actually draw in slightly. As you exhale, round the knee to chest. So bring your right knee to the chest and round the spine here. Inhale, floating that right leg back up. Good. As you exhale, once again, rounding the spine and floating the right knee to the chest. One more time. Inhale, extending that leg back. As you exhale, sweeping the right foot in between the hands. Now, if you have blocks, taking your blocks to either side of that foot. And begin to inhale, peel the chest up as you move into a lunge. As we come into our first lunge pose today, just begin to see that the left ball of the foot is pressing down to the mat. The left top of the foot is pressing down to the mat and lengthen through both sides of the chest here. Good. Now as you inhale, begin to press down through the right ball of the foot, right heel, tuck the left toes underneath, and begin to lift that left leg up. As you lift the left leg up, straighten through the right leg and allow the chest to lengthen forward to the front of the mat. So pressing through the right ball of the foot, draw the right hip back. Allow the left heel to press down. Allow the left hip to draw forward. Release that left knee down. Good. Now walk the hands back. Begin to float the right foot forward so that now you're on the right heel of the foot. The right toes are facing the ceiling. Once again, walking those fingers forward here. This is called Ardha Hanumanasana, or half split pose. It's really, Hanuman is the monkey god. And then from here, lengthen through the chest, lengthen through the heart, lengthen through the sternum here. Take your right hand, place it on your right hip. Now keep breathing here and begin to revolve your chest over towards that right foot. Now as you revolve the chest over to the right foot, two things are happening. You're hugging your outer left hip in and you're lifting through the left side of the chest. So as you do that, you should be able to revolve the chest a little bit more to the back of the room. Maybe float the right arm up towards the ceiling here. As you exhale, lower that right hand down. Plant the right foot firmly on the ground. So you may need to walk the right foot back. Plant the right foot firmly on the ground. Press through the left toes. So tuck the left toes under. Press through the left toes. Inhale, float the left leg up. One more time, straighten through that right leg. Good. Bend into that right knee here. Release the left knee down. One more time. Inhale, float both arms up towards the ceiling and lengthen through the fingers. So as you float both arms up, feel both sides of the chest lifting up. Feel the shoulder blades moving into the center ribs. Feel your frontal ribs softening towards the frontal hip bones. As you exhale here, release the hands down to the mat and glide your right leg back to meet your left leg. Good. Spread the fingers wide apart. Press down through all 10 fingers. Inhale. Lift the knees up off the mat. Press the thigh bones back. Downward facing dog. So again, as we take our way into downward facing dog pose here, just see that the heels turn slightly out. It's not a lot. They're practically parallel, but as you turn them out, the arches of the feet begin to lift up slightly. And we do want to feel the inner arches of the feet lifting up here. Once again, walk the hands back into a forward fold. So walk your hands back all the way to your feet. Release the head all the way down to the mat. Maybe you're a little deeper this time. Taking your left thumb, placing it over your right elbow, taking your right thumb, placing it over your left. So opposite interlace this time. And just begin to feel those side ribs lengthening down to the armpits here. Good. So even if the knees are slightly bent, you still want to feel that the weight is traveling forward in this posture, just so that we can increase space in the backs of the legs. Once again, release the hands down to the mat. Walk the fingers forward, downward facing dog pose. So downward facing dog pose again here. Release the head on down and breathe. Feel the forearms lifting up. Feel the outer triceps firming in. And allow those hip bones to press back to the back of the room. That's all right. From here, lower those knees down to the mat. Again, spread the fingers wide apart. If the thumbs are turned slightly out, consider turning the thumbs back to center so that the fingers, or rather the wrist, is parallel to the front of the mat. Continue to wrap those outer arms in here. And as you feel ready, lengthen your left leg back. Left leg lengthens back, float the left leg up. Press down through all 10 fingers here. Notice that the weight naturally shifts over onto the right hand and the right knee. Draw the weight back to center. Hug the abdomen in towards the chest and breathe here. Now draw the left knee into center, round the spine here, and allow yourself to coil the belly in towards the mid-back, just like we did in the very beginning of practice. Inhale, float that leg up. Good. Exhale, drawing that left knee into chest. Inhale, floating that leg up one more time. So this time, creating all the length and space you can. As you exhale, knee comes to chest, and step your left foot in between your hands here. So left foot steps in between the hands. I'd recommend using blocks for either side of the leg and bending deeply into that left knee. As you bend deeply into that left knee, see that the right chest lifts off of the right thigh. See that the left chest rather lifts off the left thigh. Wrap the outer arms in. Tuck the right toes underneath. Press down through the right ball of the foot. Straighten through the right leg and then straighten through the left leg. Release the head down. So as you release the head down, spin the right hip down towards the mat. Press to the left ball of the foot. And allow the left outer hip to draw back. As you exhale here, bend into the left knee. Release the right knee down. Walk the left toes forward. Walk the left toes up. And release that head all the way down towards the mat. So continue here to draw the left outer hip back. Continue to draw both sides of the chest forward towards that extended left leg. Breathe into the back of the left hip here. Good. And then from here, lift the chest up, lift the heart up. You can keep your right hand on the block. You're going to take your left hand and place it on the hip. So you need to firm your outer left hip in and allow the left side of the chest to coil up towards the ceiling here. Maybe float the left arm up. All right, as you exhale, lower that palm down. Once again, placing a bend back into that left knee. Tucking the right toes underneath. Pressing back through the right ball of the foot. Inhale, straightening through the left leg. Lengthening both sides of the chest forward. So Parsvatonasana pose or pyramid pose here. Walk the hands back just so that the palms are underneath the shoulders. Nice. Exhale, lower down that right knee. untuck those toes. Inhale, float the arms up towards the ceiling for Ardha Anjalayasana pose, or half lunge. Keep lengthening through the chest. Keep wrapping those outer arms in. And belly hugs in, and breathe. As you exhale, hands come down to the mat. Glide your left leg back. And once again, press your way into downward facing dog pose. Downward facing dog pose. Continue to press through those fingers. Continue to feel your arms lengthening here and wrapping in towards one another. Hollowing through the belly as you soften those frontal ribs and lengthening through the backs of the legs so that the heels really extend to the back of the mat. From here, we begin to walk both feet forward towards the hands. And inhale, come up halfway. Ardha Uttanasana, you can place your hands on your shins or on your blocks. Inhale, lengthen the chest forward here. Good. As you exhale, see that the weight travels forward towards the toes and release the head back down. So one more time, Uttanasana, just like before. Release the head, release the chest, release the sternum. Once again, take the hands to the shins. Press the hands into the shins. Calves press into the shins. Hands press into the shins. So you can feel the shins moving in both directions and lengthen the chest forward. Take your hands, begin to place your hands on your low back as you engage your core muscles and lift the chest as you find your way to standing. Spin your feet to face the front of the mat. Lengthen your fingers down as you lift your chest up towards the ceiling here. Good. Ardha Uttanasana pose. Tadasana pose. So as you feel ready, inhale, float the arms up towards the ceiling for Urdhva Hastasana pose. As you exhale, hinge at the hips and fold all the way forward. As you inhale here, lengthen through the chest, heart, and sternum. And as you exhale, begin to walk those feet back, coming into a plank pose or a push-up. So as we come into a push-up, let's lower those knees down onto the mat. And as we bend the elbows into the chest, let's lower the chest all the way down to the mat as well. Walk the hands back towards the side ribs. Palms are directly underneath the elbows. Elbows are hugging in towards one another. Inhale, begin to peel up the chest here. So as we float the chest up, see that the tops of the trapezius muscles are lengthening back towards the backs of the shoulder blades. Feel the center chest lengthening through the crown of the head here. And allow the tops of the feet, or rather the pinky side of the foot, to turn down as the inner side of the leg lifts up. Good. As you exhale, lower that head down. Press down through all 10 fingers. Tuck the toes underneath. Begin to press down through those knees as well. As you inhale, peel up the chest, coming into plank. And finding your way back into downward facing dog pose. So this is the process referred to as vinyasa. And even within our Hatha Yoga class, vinyasa is still very nice practice to take. Now, if you have any wrist issues, you can take modified version of downward facing dog by releasing your knees down to the mat and just lengthening the arms fully here. This is a modified dog pose. And from here, begin to walk the feet forward towards the hands. As you do so, inhale, hands come to the shins. Lengthen the chest on forward here. That's it. As you exhale, again, hinging at the hips, howling in that belly, and releasing the head down towards the mat. Now, once again, take the hands to the low back. Press through the four corners of the foot. Inhale, peel up the chest. Hug the belly in towards the back of the spine and float the arms up towards the ceiling, Urdhva Hastasana pose. Release the arms down to the sides. Palms face the front of the room. Inhale, float the arms up towards the ceiling again. Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, forward fold for Uttanasana pose. Inhale, lengthening here. As you exhale, plant the hands down to the mat. Walk the feet back, plank pose. Plank pose, you can lower the knees down onto the mat. Some of us will bend the elbows halfway. Usually in a beginner practice, we all lower the knees down. But if you want to try, lower down halfway and then all the way. From here, walk those hands back. Place the hands right next to either rib. Hug the elbows in towards the midline of the body. Press down through the fingers. Spread the fingers wide apart. And begin to peel up the chest here. So as you peel up the chest, hug the elbows in. Belly hugs in. Allow those side ribs to lengthen towards the armpits here. See that the tops of the shoulders continue to retract back towards the tops of the fingers as you lift the chest. Good. As you exhale, lower on down. Tuck the toes underneath. Press down through the hands. Press down through the feet. Press down through the knees. Inhale, lift the chest up for plank. Back to downward facing dog pose. From downward facing dog pose, we begin to look forward in between the hands again and walk the feet forward to the front of the mat. Inhale, lengthening here. Exhale, hinging at the hips and folding. Inhale, floating those arms up towards the ceiling for Urdhva Hastasana pose, arms extended. As you exhale, take those hands down to the sides. Good. You're going to take So thank you guys so much. I'm not quite sure where the volume cut out, but I will have to look into it. I hope that you guys have a phenomenal day today. Please be well. Please be happy. Namaste, yogis. Thank you so much. Thanks, guys.